If you've ever felt like you're being pushed and pulled by someone you care about, you're not imagining it, because avoidants have subtle ways of testing the emotional safety. And if you don't know what's happening, it can leave you feeling really confused. And that's why in today's video, we're diving into real signs an avoidant might be testing you and what those tests actually mean. My name is Luna A. May, and I'm a life and attachment style coach and author of books on attachment styles, What Attachment Style Are You, and Understanding and Overcoming Anxious Attachment. And my mission here is to help you navigate attachment dynamics and reconnect with the relationships that you truly deserve. So let's explore what's really happening when avoidant tests you and how you can respond in a way that honors both your heart and your boundaries. So we're going to start with something that happens so often it almost feels invisible. And I'm talking about the withdrawal. So sometimes an avoidant will suddenly go cold. The conversations will feel shorter. The plans might get canceled. And the work you're used to, it feels like it's evaporated overnight. And it's easy to think in those moments, did I do something wrong? But often than not, the withdrawal isn't about you. It's just a test. They want to see, will you chase them? Will you demand closeness? Or will you give them the space without falling apart? If you've ever been on the receiving end of this, you know how destabilizing it can feel. Because 1 minute, you feel connected. And the next, it's like you're talking to a stranger. And unless you understand the pattern, it's so easy to internalize the withdrawal as a reflection of your worth. But it's not a reflection of your worth, of course. You have to know that for avoidance, space feels like survival. If you chase them when they pull away, it can trigger their fear of being trapped. But if you calmly hold your ground, respecting their space while still being emotionally available, it tells them you might be safe enough to stay connected with. The second way avoidance might test you is by giving minimal effort to see if you will overcompensate in this situation. So they will pull back, they will invest less, hoping you will rush forward and fill the gap. And this is a way to protect themselves from vulnerability. If you're doing all the emotional labor, they feel less exposed and they feel less at risk at the same time. So if you find yourself constantly picking up the emotional slack, always texting first, always making plans, it's really important to notice that. Because in healthy relationships, effort flows in both directions. You shouldn't have to earn someone's affection by doing more and more. The third way an avoidant might test you is by the inconsistency. So one day they are affectionate, texting first, making plans, and the next day there is silence, there is distance, there is coldness. This inconsistency often isn't conscious. It's driven by internal conflict that they are feeling. They are testing the emotional climate. Will you react with anger, with anxiety, with withdrawal? They're trying to figure out, can I be close without losing myself, without being consumed? It's exhausting to be on the receiving end of this. It can feel like emotional roller coaster because one moment you're hopeful, the next you're doubting everything. But if you can stay grounded through the inconsistency, if you can stay connected to yourself and not abandon your own needs, you send a powerful message. A message that's saying that you are not here to chase, you are here to build something real and meaningful. The fourth test is the disinterest in deep conversations. So an avoidant might change the subject when things get emotional. They might make a joke, or they might suddenly get busy. And this is because when they were growing up, vulnerability might have been met with pain or abandonment. So now they test you by distancing themselves from depth, hoping you will stay surface level as well. So when you notice this, it's not a sign to push harder. It's an invitation to stay steady, to show gently that real intimacy is safe with you. The fifth way avoidance tests emotional safety is by subtly pushing the boundaries. Maybe they are chronically late, or they cancel plans last moment, or they make little jokes that don't feel good, but they laugh it off. They are watching how you respond. Will you speak up? Will you pretend it didn't bother you? And you have to know that this isn't about manipulation. It's about survival. Because for them, setting boundaries often feels terrifying. So they are looking for evidence. Are boundaries safe here? Or do they lead to rejection? When you lovingly but firmly set your own boundaries, you're not pushing them away. You're showing them that real connection can hold honesty. And you're showing yourself that you deserve the respect. Avoidants may also sometimes test loyalty with distance. So, what they will do is they will pull back for days, maybe even weeks. And they want to see, will you still be there? Will you explode with anger? Will you move on without a word? And it's heartbreaking to feel like you're being tested this way. Like love is a game you have to pass all the time. But it's not about you proving anything. You have to remember that. It's about them learning slowly that love can survive even when fear tries to pull it apart. And finally, the last way they might test you is by shifting the blame. Avoidants sometimes push blame onto others when they feel emotionally unsafe. And it's a defensive strategy. If you're the problem, then they don't have to confront their own fear of shame. When blame shaming happens, it's easy to doubt yourself, I know. To over apologize in this situation, to think maybe I'm too sensitive. But healthy trust means being able to say, I hear your feelings and here's my experience. So it means staying grounded in your reality even when someone you care about is struggling with theirs. So if you recognize yourself in any of these dynamics, know that it's not a reflection of your value. It's not a proof that you're unlovable or that you have to earn someone's closeness by walking on eggshells. This is very important to remember. It's simply a map of someone else's fear. And you deserve relationships where your emotional needs aren't treated like burdens. And you get to decide in this situation, do I want to stay here? Can this person meet me halfway over time? Or am I abandoning myself trying to hold on to someone who isn't ready? Remember that you are not too much because you notice the shift in their energy. You are not too sensitive because their distance hurts you. Your emotional needs are totally valid. And healing attachment wounds doesn't mean never feeling fear again. It means knowing what to do when the fear shows up. So if you want support in learning how to navigate attachment dynamics or rebuild self-trust and create the kind of emotional security that lasts, I love to work with you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing the work. And I see you in the next one.